In this video, I'll be going over how to create a basic corridor for a siding track with the subassembly we created in the last video. So to get started, in the last video we um, created this basic assembly with a ditch. I've actually created a copy of that and just removed the ditch just to start things off, just because we don't know where the ditch is required at the start. So we'll just go with this assembly, which just removes all the ditch components and just has a daylight um, instead. So to get started, we're gonna need to create some feature lines. First of all, we start our subballast at the excavation limit, which is right here. So we need to tell the assembly where this point is. Now we've already said we are going to link it to the excavation limit in the horizontal, and in the vertical we'll be getting the information from the top of rail profile. So to create the excavation limit, remember it's 3 meters away from the existing main line. So we can go to the main line, and I'm going to select this surveyed um, polyline here. We'll offset that 3 meters. And then we get this. So you can reference a polyline as a target in the corridor, but I like to create things as feature lines in a corridor just because it's you can provide names and it's easier to find. So we'll call this excavation limit. And for the target, I mean the style, you can just give it whatever style you like. Just make it different from everything else. So we will use, let's try this line break one. Yeah, sure. So that's our excavation limit now. Um, and to start the corridor off, we will go to the Home tab and we'll create a corridor. Yeah, the name, you can change the name if you want. This corridor style is fine for now. So proposed siding track center line is our alignment. You can also create it out of a feature line if you want to. The profile is our top of rail profile, and the assembly is going to be the generic one that I made. Um, and we'll use EG surface as the starting surface. Um, okay, so a couple of things in this screen. So right now we have one region that's throughout the entire corridor, but we don't necessarily want to start at the start and end stations just because we don't have actually profile through that whole area. So I'll start this off. Um, First of all, I want to check where my profile starts. So it starts at 32.9. So let's start it at 35. Oh, that's negative 35. So negative 30. Let's do that. Oh, there we go. Um, End station, we'll go back to the end, and 3 plus 61, so we'll do 3060. And we'll do that. Frequency, you can make this whatever you like. I like to go with 5-meter intervals. We'll do 5 meters for everything. Horizontal geometry points, yeah, sure. I like to, since we don't have offset targets, oh, we do. We're gonna have our excavation limit, and you'll notice it had a lot of vertices, so I'm gonna actually turn this off. There's too many. It'll create too many sections. Adjacent to offset target. I'm also gonna turn this one off. And then the targets. Yeah, we got EG, and then you'll notice now it becomes apparent that good naming standards for your subassemblies are important. Like we can easily tell that this what we want to do in this screen because we've named things properly. So our link to excavation limit, and this is a horizontal link. So here we can select feature lines and we'll select this from our drawing. We'll zoom back in here and select our feature line. And you'll notice that it actually has the name feature line excavation limit. If we were to select a polyline, it'll just say polyline 1 and you would have no idea where that is or which one that is referring to. So we'll do that. Sub ballast shoulder. So you can create a separate link for the sub ballast, but we're going to leave it constant for now. Um, link to, so we don't need a vertical link because we've already, our profile is going to act as the vertical link, which the subassembly is linked to. So we can leave this one's empty for now. And okay, we will rebuild. And there we go. We got a basic corridor set up, and you want to see how this looks like so that there are no errors or things like that. So there are two ways to check what your corridor looks like. You can go into your um, section editor, do that. Oh, well, actually, AutoCAD did that automatically for us. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, so we got our basic sections here, and you can navigate through to any section you want. And uh, you'll notice there are a lot of sections. Yeah. Um, but I actually, there's another way that I prefer than the section editor. The section editor is nice because um, you can edit the sections and all the parameters individually. However, just to make things more clear, I'm going to create actual sections. So for that, we're going to go into our sample lines in the Home tab and select our alignment. And then here you can select all our data sources. So EG is good. I don't care about the top of rail surface. EG, um, we'll keep the styles the same, I guess. Hit OK. And we've just now to actually create it, you can go here, create sample group. Oh, sorry, here. You can select by station, but that's like if you want to individually click on certain stations to cut sections. But since we're doing grading sections, we're going to do by range. And we can start it from anywhere, but I'll start it at where we actually start the corridor. No, actually, we can start it at -60. That's fine. And we'll go to 60 here. So left SWAT, there's not much interesting in the left side, so I'll make this a bit shorter at 20. And then on the right side, I'll make it a bit longer just because all our grading is on the right side. Um, increments, you can select this. I'll do 25. Range start, yep. Okay, that's all good. So we'll hit OK. And there are our sections. Hit escape to get out of that command. And yeah, so we have it at every 25-meter stations. And then to make it so to create the actual section views, we will go to section views, create multiple views. So we select our sample line group, um, and this can all stay the same. Let's do line desktop sections. So we'll do the draft. When you're doing the drawing production, you might want to select a template with the viewport. But for this, we just want to see what our sections look like. So we'll do that. And here you might want to see or or select how you want your sections to be displayed. You can go by rows or you can go by columns. So the columns will be up, down, and the rows are like left, right. It's up to your preference. I'll just keep it like that. You can select your ranges. I like to keep this stuff as automatic. Here, turn off your labels, otherwise it can get a little much. You can change your styles here, and okay, I'll keep those things as default. Create sections. Um, okay, so now you can see we started at roughly minus 30. So minus 25, you can see that it's building the sub ballast. Um, our 2-to-1 slope is looking good, and then you can see the stripping lines and everything. And what you will typically do is you'll look through each sections and you'll see where we need to change things. So if you're thinking about it from like where do you need a ditch, like maybe you'll see a flat area like this and maybe you might want to put in a ditch in here. So I could see from station 250 till maybe 350 roughly, you'll probably need a ditch. So I will show you how to change or how to create a ditch there. So first of all, you can go to your top rail profile. I've already created a ditch here. So I've created it from 235 to 380. And the way you do that is just going to select your profile view, profile creation tools, and you can create a little ditch um, here. And I've just made it so that it follows my track and it's a certain distance down. The distances you can always go back to your typical section, but if we take a measurement here from the top of rail to the bottom of your ditch, and you can see the Y offset is 2.126, so that tells you that your ditch has to be 2.126 meters below your top of rail profile. So yeah, you can create a line here, offset it down. Um, well, it's vertically exaggerated, so it'll be 21.26 meters down, and you'll get your ditch profile. So you want to make a note of your stations. So it's from 380 or 235 to 380. I actually want it to be from 240, and you want to go a little bit beyond that, just because the corridor um, will prefer that the alignment is a little bit beyond the starting point. Um, just an issue with Civil 3D, I guess. Okay, so in order to apply our ditch section to that area, we'll go to the corridor properties and we want to add a new region in here. Um, so we can either insert before and after, or we can split the region. And for this case, we'll split it just because it's in the middle of it. And we can select the station or we can just type it in. So I will type in 240 here. And then 380, I think it was the last one. Okay, and then hit enter again. So you'll notice that it created a little section here. So, um, so we still have our basic assembly from negative 30 to 240 and 380 to 3060. So in the middle, we can change to our ditch. And the frequency and everything will remain the same. You can also give these things different names. I'll just keep them as standard for now. Target. Um, so here we got some additional information, and you'll see, you know, ditch bottom and things like that. Link to ditch. So link to ditch is what we care about. We can't really control this horizontally because we have a certain slope to our ditch, and it follows that slope until we hit the elevation profile. So here we can select the elevation profile, and that's going to be our ditch profile that we created. We'll do that, and everything else is the same. Hit rebuild. And there we go. We have our little ditch section here. And if you want to look at see how that looks like, we just go to our section here. So you can see the little ditch section that we've just designed. There we go. That looks good. So yeah, what else? So there, we can make our corridor style a little bit different. Right now, it's pretty generic, and we can actually change the style by going to the corridor. We'll go to the feature lines because the feature lines is what controls all of these. And you'll notice that it includes all the point codes that are in your corridor. So we can, maybe um, put the ditch into an actual ditch. Let's do a corridor ditch and see what that looks like. There you go. Um, so now we can easily see that that's our ditch. And then, daylight. Let's put a, let's do corridor daylight. And yep, it's looking better. And then we want to maybe edit our sub base. Um, Sub base shoulder. So it's already something different. Oh, that's probably what this dotted line is. Edge of paved shoulder. That's good. Um, the other thing is excavation limit. So I don't see excavation limit here. That's probably because we haven't given it a code yet. Um, so let's go ahead and do that. To adjust the code, so point code, it's just set to P2. So we can give it, we can change it just typing. You can give it whatever name you want. I can call it EL, or I can just call it excavation if I want. I'll just keep it EL. Or maybe let's call it excavation then. I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna make sure I apply the same code to this one as well. So instead of P2, let's do excavation. And we'll have to rebuild this. Okay, go back here. And you'll see that excavation showed up. So here can give it a different one, different line type. We've already given the actual feature line some line type, so let's do corridor grading. We'll go back. So our excavation limit is here. This is our actual feature line, which we can actually turn off now. Uh, oops. So we can go to the properties of this feature line, corridor lane break. So we'll turn this one off. Maybe what we can do is go to the corridor and change this to corridor lane break. Uh, okay, so another thing we can do is we can turn off some of these other feature lines that we don't care about. So um, we have something for EPS, which is the shoulder of the sub ballast. So we can actually turn off EPS base, and we'll turn off pavement. This one will turn off P2 daylight sub. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. go. And then another thing you can do to make it look nice, um, let's go to basic. We can turn off the links. So we can turn off this to no display, hit OK, and now you can see that, your corridor looks a lot nicer. Um, yeah. You probably want the links if you're still working on your corridor, like you want to see where your sections are taken at, or you might want to create an additional section here just to make this transition smoother. So like I can do that and that and that. Yeah, just to provide some additional definition. Um, we can also create slope patterns here. So first feature line we'll do the EPS, and then we want to go up till the ditch. So we'll do that, and then we'll add another one. We'll start at the daylight, and we'll go till the ditch. Let's see what the basic style looks like. Yeah, that looks fine. And there we go. We got some nice grading lines, and then we can do that. So you'll notice we only did that for the ditch. So we're gonna have to do the same thing here for other regions. So we'll select that, and the second feature line we'll do the daylight, and there we go. And that concludes my tutorial for a basic corridor. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.